Hi guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about Dana 80. This is on a Dodge Dually, 2002. I think that's about the last year that Dodge put the Dana 80 in the Dually 1-ton. So I had to change the brake rotor. I'm going to walk through that a little bit, how it's done. There's not a whole lot of info out there on the Dana 80, so I'm hoping this is helpful. I wished I'd done the whole video of this. I didn't even think about it, the tear down and everything, but let me show you what the reason I'm doing this. I put new pads on this rotor 2 years ago on the rear discs. It had a few little craters like this 2 years ago, but it's just totally escalated here. These are deep pits in this. I think this is from a faulty, it's got to be from faulty casting. This disc is 14 years old. This is 2016. These are off an 02 model, so this side's not as bad. This is the pad that came off. Caught it just in time. I took this truck in to have it inspected, and the inspector caught it. Good thing. I knew about it, but I had no idea it was going to get this bad. So it's a good thing that that I caught this. So right off the bat, you're going to have to go buy yourself a tool. OTC sells this tool. It's model number 1928, wheel bearing, lock nut socket. This is, I believe, 2 9/16, 6-point rounded corner. This is not going to work, or your normal impact socket, big socket's not going to work. It's got to be this one. It's a thin-walled socket, specialized tool. Let's see here. It's OTC 1928, 2 9/16. Okay, first thing, put your new special tool on there and take this lock nut off. There's no really lock nuts on this. Most axles have a dual lock nut, you know, with pin and a retainer that goes in your key slot there. Not the Dana 80. This is a one-time used nylon lock nut. They do not recommend you using this twice, so shit can that. Go to the auto parts store and buy you a brand new lock nut. Now, at first you'll see there's a little pin in the, let me see if I can find the old lock nut here. This old lock nut is actually staked in there. This is called a lock, what is this thing? Lock ring? A lock ring wedge. This is a little wedge. You actually drive this into your, sorry about the video here, guys. You actually drive this wedge down in through the nylon, and it'll index itself here in the keyway on your axle, your spindle. So that little thing will sit just like that. And this is the yellow one. They make a yellow and an orange. As far as I know, the orange one is smaller. It's the one I needed, but I bought the yellow one. And I had to dress down this face right here. You see the shiny part? Because it's too thick. These come in two thicknesses. They were out of the orange, so I bought the yellow. The yellow works. All right, hang in there. Okay. Now your hub is going to bolt to the new rotor flange here. It's got 8 bolts. They're 1/2 inch grade 8. I torqued them down to 95 foot-pounds. And I also ran blue Loctite on them. This is Cat brand Loctite. Loctite, Cat, same difference. As long as you use blue, I don't believe I'd want to use red on it. These are imperative. These are Loctited and torqued. Okay. Okay, so after you pulled the old lock nut out, you got to get your outer bearing race out. This is your outer bearing race. This is actually the inner race for the outer bearing. Pull that out with a magnet. Keep it clean. You don't have to re-grease these guys. This is not a greasable spindle or bearings. These are oil bath, so keep your bearing as it is. You'll want to soak that in some oil before you assemble it. Okay, so anyway, now after you've got that out, this whole assembly pulls off. Your hub, rotor, everything comes off in one piece. While you're in there, clean everything up. You're going to want to replace the inner seal. The seal sits right behind here, guys, where this bolts onto your new rotor. You're going to have a seal in here. Very advisable to replace that. Grease this seal up good before you install it. Even put a little RTV or Permatex on the outer and then drive it in with something suitable. Something about that diameter, or tap it in with a mallet, however you want to do it. Okay, back to the bearing. I'm going to assemble this now. I'm sorry you guys missed the teardown of it. I apologize. Like I said, this is an oil bath bearing setup on this. So we're going to kind of pre-lube this axle here, or this hub. You want to take your bearing out here and try to squirt some 80-90 in there behind the bearing cap until it flows out. That's going to give this these bearings some initial lube. All right, so we're good there. I'm going to squirt this down too. Let's do it. Okay, so I've got an old coffee can lid here. I'm going to put the bearing in there, and normally I soak these. I actually soak the other side. The other side's done, but get a lot of oil on these. Get it lubed up really good. Okay. That's pretty well lubed. Stick it in there. Then we'll put our one-time use lock nut on, which is this one. By the way, this one-time spindle nut is part number 615139.1 spindle nut. This one hasn't been put on yet. And it's kind of tricky to get them started. Okay, we'll use the big socket and wind it down. Okay, got that cinched down somewhat. You're going to want to set your torque wrench for 130 foot-pounds. The specs are between 120 and 140 foot-pounds. Put that on. And get someone to rotate your hub while you're torquing it, or just gradually do increments and rotate it. That'll seat your bearings in there. So push. Hey, we're at 130 pounds. And of course it won't budge, okay? Now the specs say to back this off 1/8 of a turn, which is very convenient because that's the next lug nut is 1/8 there. So we'll back that off. Try it. Okay. Ooh, there's about 1/8 right there. Okay, guys, so that just effectively set your preload on your bearings. You're going to have bits of nylon here flaking out from your nylock nut. Just fish that shit out of there. You don't need that in there. All right. I think we're good. Now we're going to put the wedge in. The little wedge. Got the wedge in place, gonna tap it in. There we go. And that's it. Pretty much flush with the front of the spindle. I actually mutilated one getting it out. I didn't realize they just pulled straight out. So when you guys are tearing yours down, put a set of vice grips on that and give it a yank straight out. That's how they come out. Okay, next up is the axle. I've already cleaned the flange on this axle. This was not put together with any sealant. This is a steel gasket. So you're fine to reuse this, and you don't need any sealer on it. This is going to torque to about 65 to 70 foot-pounds. So slide that on your axle. All right. Now we're going to swap hands here and slide this old axle in. As far as I know, there's no seals inside we have to be careful with. Just run it in easy. Slide it in. It'll notch index in. There you go. Now we'll put the bolts in. Well, the axle flange bolts are 7/16 grade 8 bolts. I usually use blue Loctite on them. Maybe I'm anal that way, but it actually seems like when you use Loctite, your bolts stay tighter, and they're easier to get out once you break the Loctite. You don't get rust down in the threads. All right. Now we'll just wind these in and torque them to, I'd say, 65 foot-pounds. That's what a standard 7/16 grade 8 bolt torques at. I'm going to go 60, 65. Need to torque these bolts. Now this hub is going to turn when you go to torque it. So I use an old buggy bar, or any kind of buggy bar, pry bar, mechanics bar, whatever you got laying around. Just wedge that on there. And I've got my torque wrench set for 70. I think we'll be fine around 70 foot-pounds. Okay, it's not much, but 70 is not a whole lot of torque. But times that by 8, that's not going anywhere. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, got the final one torqued here. I'm gonna wipe it down, hit it with some brake cleaner, give it a coat of paint. Then we're gonna talk about brakes on this, guys. That was the fun part that I wish I had illustrated, but I'll tell you as much as I learned on this. I'll share it with you. I know some of you guys are going to be doing this rotors and brakes on your Dana 80 dually, so hang in there. Okay, some of you guys are going to say, what's this shit, Chevy orange on a Dodge? No, it's not Chevy orange. It's red insulating enamel. It's a very aggressive paint. We paint motors, insulation, and stuff like that, or work with this. It's actually an electrical paint, but it's also an awesome paint for hubs, whatever you got, guys. Even if you're gonna paint your hubs black, prime them with this shit. So it ain't Chevy orange, I wouldn't do that. Okay, let's talk a little bit about brake shoes. Now behind this, in your new drum here, is where your park brake shoes reside, back in here. And that's another reason I got denied on my inspection, because my park brake wouldn't lock up. And guys, let me tell you, this is the biggest pain in the ass I've ever had, adjusting brake shoes. It's not hard to install them, but your conventional brake tools won't work. All you do is spread the shoes and pull them out of off the damn backing plate, and then replace your springs, replace your shoes. So I probably didn't need to replace these shoes. There's not much wear on them. They were just out of adjustment, but I thought better safe than sorry. Let's put some new shoes on. The new ones were not much thicker than that, so. The hard part is adjusting the brake adjuster in those shoes. I've got a couple brake spoons I've modified. I've heated and bent them to make them work, to facilitate them working. Let's see here. Okay, so like I said, I had to modify some brake spoons to work. I bet a lot of guys didn't know that the park brake is adjustable on these. The cable is not adjustable. So you've got this little plug in the back of the brake backing plate. Okay, on the driver's side, your adjusting nut's going to be right here at the top. And I suggest that you take pictures of your brake assembly before you slide your rotor over it, because you want to remember, you don't want to forget which way you got to turn that wheel to adjust your shoes in and out, because it's a pain in the ass. If you go the wrong way, you've just probably wasted a half an hour. So take pictures of your brake backing plate with your shoes on, and also your adjusting nuts. I'll post some pictures of mine at the end of this video. Okay, driver's side is on the top. Passenger side, your brake adjusting, you're gonna have to adjust the brakes from the bottom. They're just opposite. So anyway, that's about all I've got on this, guys. Hope it was helpful. Dana 80. Next time, if I ever do this again, I'll take video of the whole process. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace. Bye-bye.
Well, the same old